Alright, hey hunters, Halozu here with more One D&D stuff after a while. Yeah, I probably should have been making some other videos in the meantime, but we're here now for Playtest 7. So, this video is just going to go over the two warrior classes we have here. We are going to skip over the monk because it's not in this one because they didn't have enough time to get all the feedback for it, so that's going to be coming up in the next UA, I guess, but oh well. It's just the way the feedback stuff works. Which, at the very least, I hope means that they're going to get a very good version of the monk here. I would not be surprised, though, if this does lead to another change. Well, this UA leads to another change, but that's just a, well, there's a change to another class here that we're not going to go into yet, that does bring up some questions of what they're going to do with some other classes. But today we're here for warriors, so we're going to start with the Barbarian, very simply. So, Barbarian, Danger Sense is now level 2, and it works when you're blinded or deafened. Honestly, I would have been fine if it was deafened, but blind... And I also think if you have both, it should shut off, but I don't know. It's just... I feel like this might be getting too powerful, where Danger Sense... I already think Danger Sense is just a bit too powerful. I don't like its inclusion, but this feels like they're just making it more and more powerful, which I don't think they should be doing. Reckless Attack now grants its bonus till the start of your next turn. So this does mean you get opportunity attacks, but as they said, part of the reason was it allowed them to unify the timing of, as long as you're granting advantage, you have advantage. So this will be actually an indirect buff to Berserker alongside their one, and I mean one, change. But it is definitely cool that it's like, yeah, Reckless Attack, it now works with opportunity attacks, which is nice. I think it's fair. It's like, yeah, it's cool. Like, give enemies even more reason to fear when you Reckless Attack. Primal Knowledge, it's now level 3, which matches Primal Knowledge, so fair. Well, the Tasha's version. Instinctive Pounce is back from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Brutal Critical's back at 9th level. I think it was at 11th. I don't know if he got up to 3, though. Was it 3? Oh, no, it was entirely reworked. But this version, it's now to D12. So this is a, I'll say, better and worse version, in my opinion, but oh well. But the main thing is, they still solved the problem of the extra dice, where it's just like, yeah, we're just going to give you a D12 by default now. It doesn't matter what weapon you're using, it's a D12. Which, very good. Relentless Rage is back to 11. Persistent Rage is back to 15. Indomitable Might is back to 18. And then Primal Champion is back to 20. And it's also back to +4s. Persistent Rage is now unconscious rather than incapacitated. And Rage Resurgence is added to this feature, which I think is fine. Indomitable Might applies to strength saves and checks, which I don't remember what it did. Oh, no, it was just removed. Ah, yeah. But Yeah, I think these changes are mostly good. I'm not a fan of Primal Champion, but I mean, it works. It's certainly better off as this version, where it's like, yeah, you have like a +4. It's like it's a +2 bonus added on. So yeah, it's pretty good. So not too much. It's more refining it. Uh, the weapon mastery increases, same as before. Though I am interested to see how Monk progresses with them. But we'll see what happens with Monk since their last incarnation was pretty bad. So Rage, it's the same as before. So there's not much to talk about here. I think just about everything, with the one exception for me being Brutal Critical adding 3 dice again. I don't think I like having the 3 dice. Maybe if it was D8s or... But 3d12 extra, I feel like, might be a bit too good. And that's why I think you might be able to replace the level 13 with an increased critical. I get they're like, well, reckless attack is your increased crit chance, but I do think they could add that on either at level 13 or 17 rather than an extra dice, where it's like, yeah, no, you do get extra critical chance, but you get it with any attack rather than just through reckless attack, and reckless attack is now even more powerful. And I think maybe at 17th level that would be good, where it's like, yeah, no, you start critting like crazy, and make it where not just Champion gets that. And it's at an appropriate level, unlike Champion. Barbarian subclasses. Path of the Berserker. One change. Intimidating Presence is a bonus action. Which, honestly... Yeah. Yeah. This is good. So, yeah, I think this is like, they've got a very, very good incarnation of what used to be one of the most useless subclasses in the game. But this version, I think, it's a very strong inclusion. It's got just about everything you could want. Path of the Wild Heart. This sounds new, but it's not. It's actually Totem Warrior. So it turns out that in Baldur's Gate, the renamed Totem Warrior is actually because this was happening. It just gave us a sneak preview of, hey, Totem Warrior's getting renamed. So that's an interesting change. Animal Speaker, now spellcasting modifier specified. Couldn't change the 2nd level spell, but oh well. That is easily on my short list of spells, because Beast Sense, it sucks so much. At the very least, you don't have to worry about using spell slots or anything on it, but still. Such a terrible spell. Rage of the Wilds. This is the new Totem Spirit. And all of these have actually been tweaked around, where, for one, only the first 3, only Rage of the Wilds keeps the original names for the spirits. The rest are all different. So, basically, they're kind of playing up the part where you can pick other options. You're not bound to one choice. So now it's like, yeah, you choose different spirit animals to take on rather than you have one build you can dedicate yourself to, which I understand. And Eagle and Wolf have been buffed, where Wolf now has a wider radius it affects. Eagle now gets a dash and disengage as a bonus action, which also activates as part of your rage. And Bear has been nerfed. Honestly, fair. That one is very, very powerful. I will say there is some room to bring it, to lift it back up a bit, but I'll mention it a bit. But also, you can actually change on level up. So you can change these as you level up, which is pretty interesting, but useful. Also, Bear can't choose Force anymore, but that one's fine, because it's supposed to be a rare resistance for one, and it's also a rare damage type used, so normally that's not going to matter too much that you can't pick Force, but you do have to choose two. Though actually... Oh, it's chosen when you activate Rage. I derped before. Yeah, that's actually really powerful. So it is actually good. It's fine, then. Because you choose on Rage, so it's like, yeah, you choose 2 damage types, boom, resistance. I was going to suggest have it be Long Rest, but I think this version's perfect then. But yeah, those are all 3 really good. Though I wouldn't mind if Wolf also buffed ranged attack rolls, but eh. Aspects of the wild now. They use it. They're fine. You can get a proficiency or expertise in one of 2 skills, so I do like that it can give you expertise, though I wouldn't mind if they gave you both, or at least, like, you get one as a proficiency, one as an expertise, but, or had a way of swapping it without leveling up, but these are fine. I will miss the old Bear option where you actually get the double carrying capacity, which can actually stack with your powerful build. So you can lift absolutely ridiculous stuff. But this, I think it's fine. Like, Elephant is Athletics or Insight. Owl is Investigation or Perception. Easily the most powerful one by far. They may want to swap Perception out just because of how stupid that can get. Maybe make that Insight with Elephant being a different skill. Like, maybe Elephant gets Survival and then Spider gets Acrobatics? Maybe? But currently it's Stealth or Survival on Spider, but it's fine. It's good. I just think Owl might be too good right now because you can get Perception Expertise with it, which that's really powerful. Level 10 still pretty much the same, just different name. Power of the Wilds, roughly similar, but Lion replaces Bear, and it ignores the Frightened condition, so it doesn't Frighten immunity, so it gets around that since it's not frightened. Which, fair. Falcon now allows for a persistent fly speed, but you can't wear armor, which actually is a very interesting one where it's like, because you do have, I think you can still use a shield though, it's just you have to be using your natural armor, which is interesting. Ram replacing Wolf. No longer uses the bonus action, but needs a saving throw, which, honestly, fair. Auto prone can be very powerful, and making this more efficient in actions is also really good, especially since it's the same action used to activate Rage. We'll talk about World Tree in a moment, because we have Zealot back. Yeah. This one was probably my number one for. We'll probably see changes to this one because it's kind of just lackluster. Divine Fury. You now choose the damage type each time, which, yeah, that's nice. Because sometimes you want to do Radiant or Necrotic, so there's usually you'll stick to one in a fight, but this way it's like, yeah, you have options. Of course, Radiant's probably usually the right one, but oh well. Warrior of the Gods now offers a way to get additional HP when you're healed, which, honestly, I like that one. Where it's like, whenever you get healed by a spell or magic item, you get to roll a d12 and add that to the HP restored. You only get con uses per day, but honestly, I like that. It's like, yeah, I really need healing. And you have a massive health pool, too, where it's like, yeah, D8, like D4 healing, it ain't gonna do much for you when you're D12 hit dice, but that one, I think it's a very cool upgrade. I do think, and they still have the old ability, it's just in addition to that, you have the better healing, which definitely fits in. Fanatical Focus is actually the same. Once per rage, you get to reroll a failed saving throw, which is always a good thing. It's never bad. So that doesn't need changes. Zealous Presence now allows multiple uses between long rests, but uses up your rage, but honestly, that's not the worst thing. As bonus action, give people advantage on attack rolls and saving throws till the start of your next turn. It's good. It doesn't buff save DCs, but I think that's fine for a barbarian. You're not supposed to be good with magic, so it does make sense that it's like, yeah, you don't buff magic. And then Rage Beyond Death. Now, it's been reworked to be like you turn into a warrior spirit after you use Relentless Rage. So when your Relentless Rage successfully restores HP, you assume the form of a spectral warrior. Lasts for 1 minute until you regain any hit points or drop to 0 HP. But basically, you have a fly speed equal to your speed and can hover. Can move through objects if they were difficult terrain, but take force damage if you injured inside something. And when you're hit by an attack roll, use your reaction to turn that hit into a miss. And just be like, nope. That's going to be pretty powerful and fun. May or may not get abused, but it's interesting. So then, Path of the World Tree. So, we come back to what happened last time, where they added 2 new subclasses. One of which actually kind of got away with what it was doing, mostly because Circle of the Sea wasn't just any new subclass. It was actually a split off from land. So I'm like, yeah, that one's fine. College of Dance, though, might need to be put back in the back burner for later. This one, I think, kind of the same deal where I'm like, honestly, I would have liked if they redid Storm Herald first. But this one is definitely cool. I just think I would rather have a reworked Storm Herald. And while I will also say there is the benefit of not needing a rework as much with this one, where there's nothing else that needs a rework badly. So it does have that going for it, but I do think this could be saved for later. But first, let's go into it. So this one's actually pretty interesting, and I'm gonna actually pause real quick. Okay, I just had to post some stuff. Anyway, this actually brings back a lot of thoughts about Warden from 4th edition, which is cool. And I will say, once again, this is really a cool idea. I just don't know if we want a new one just yet over more reworks to old content, such as Storm Herald, which I think they could make Storm Herald a lot better with the aura and stuff. But this one, let's talk about it. So, level 3, Vitality of the Tree. Whenever you activate your Rage, you regain a number of hit points equal to Barbarian level, and at the start of each of your turns while it's active, you can choose another creature within 10 feet of yourself to gain temporary hit points. And you roll a number of d6s equal to your Rage damage bonus. Calling in to the new Frenzy, actually, which is cool that they're doing that more. And then that's the temporary hit points you give to the creature. So yeah, this is very reminiscent of Life Spirit, where you would basically be like healing or like giving temporary points to other people a lot of the time and doing support stuff. This is definitely a really cool one where like you have a big heal when you rage, which that is going to be a massive bonus sometimes. And honestly, I think they could do that. They could add that to base Barbarian, maybe, where you get the heal. Just because that's useful to have sometimes on any Barbarian build where it's like, oh crap, I got hammered. Rage and heal. But it is good here. I will say. It's a cool thing. That could be brought over, but it's also fine here. The temporary points is definitely cool and useful. Branches on the tree at 6th level. While Rage is active, whenever a creature ends its turn in 20 feet of you, you can use a reaction to summon spectral branches of the world tree around it, and it must succeed on a strength save versus your strength modifier, actually, or be teleported to an unoccupied space in 5 feet of you, or in the nearest unoccupied space you can see. Has to be on a surface that can support it. And if it can't, you don't teleport it. And you can voluntarily fail the saving throw. So you can use that on allies as well. That's definitely a cool one where it's kind of like it. It's literally Warden's Grasp on steroids. Where instead of just like pulling them 5 feet, it's like, no. You just teleport them right to you. Which might be a bit too powerful, but honestly, it is very cool. Where it's like, nope, get back over here. And then Battering Roots. While you wield any melee weapon, your reach with that weapon increases by 10 feet, and when you hit with it, you can activate the Push or Topple property, even if you're using another mastery property with that weapon. This one might be too good. Because it's not even on Rage. And this is very powerful. Like, you can get a 20-foot reach with this into Reach Weapon. And you get Push or Topple even if you have another property. Or if it's one of those two that the weapon's mastery is, you just have both. That's probably too good right now. And I think my critiques is the reach should be rage only. as well as getting push or topple with another mastery. I think those should be restricted to rage, but also give the option to replace your weapon's mastery with push or topple at all times. So it's like, when you're out of rage, you can still do push or topple. It just replaces your normal mastery. I think that would be better, where it's like, just to rein this in. And also have it be, maybe if you're using a reach weapon, it's only 5 feet rather than an extra 10. Because that can get pretty absurd. But, yeah. 14, travel along the tree. As an action, you can touch a tree to basically go to any teleportation circle in the world or another plane of existence. You can specify a target destination, and then up to you and up to 5 willing creatures can appear at that teleportation circle. So, yeah, that's a powerful one. And you can use it once per long rest, or using 5 uses of rage. So yeah, that's gonna be all your rages for a bit, and then you're only gonna have 1 after that. So that is a very hefty cost. It might be too hefty, but honestly, I can kind of understand too. This one feels like, honestly, I may even say there needs to be something else at this level that's directly powerful, or maybe have some bonuses to branches of the tree, maybe. Or maybe it's like you get an extra reaction that can only be used on branches of the tree. So you have 1 guaranteed branches of the tree, and then whatever else you want in case you need to make an opportunity attack, or just use branches of the tree a second time. I think that would be good, just to make it where you don't have just utility at 14th, and your last direct power upgrade is at 10th, albeit right now that 10th level upgrade is maybe a bit too good. Perhaps also make the reach extension scale, so it starts at 5 feet, but becomes 10 feet later, and maybe even caps off at 15, though that might be going too far. Overall, I think Path of the World Tree, it's great. It's better than the other 2 on their first pass, I think. Mostly because this one feels actively useful. Or at least more useful in comparison. Because my main problem with Circle of the Sea is that it's another 10-foot aura build. With that being honestly the one problem I have with it, but it's one where I feel like I think they can do something different here and push it away from spores with the aura. And then also College of Dance. That one needs a lot of work to make it feel less like Monk, and also feel like you're doing something slightly different and unique. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick. I'll be back. Alright. So, the fighter. Yeah, this is interesting. So, basically, they've just been refining it, really. But, so the changes include fighting style. Basically, whenever you level up, you get to change it. Like martial versatility, but it actually makes sense. It's not some garbo, oh, only whenever you get ability score increase do you get to change it. It's like, no. Go die in a hole with that design. every level up you get to change it. Simple as that. It's not as bad as the classes of the cantrips, but oh well. Second Wind, you get an expended use back on a short rest. Thank you. Just thank you. It does end up being awkward, though, where you don't get more uses back later, but I think maybe at 10th level or something, they could give you an additional use back with short rest, but that's just the way it is, you know. So, weapon mastery, you get 6 instead of 5. I honestly could not care less about that, though. It's not like, oh yeah, you use because the problem is it's you use different weapons. I don't really care if I can use the mastery of a 6th weapon. I don't care. Like, sure, there's cases where it might be useful, but honestly, I do not care at all. It just feels superfluous at this point, where it's like, yeah, why would I care about carrying a 6th weapon around? You don't normally carry 5. It's like, yeah, maybe if they had an increased carrying capacity and were able to swap weapons easier, it would be better, but they don't. So my suggestion would be maybe make it, if weapon masteries were just at wills, or like at wills from 4E, I would love it. I would, but with the system as it is, it just isn't worth it. The 6th, it's like, I don't care. I mean, the number's up. I can use another weapon more effectively. I don't really need it, though. At all. So then Action Surge. So the previous one, the main change is that Action Surge was just attack, dash, disengage, dodge. So it was just fighter-themed actions. This time they've gone back on that a little bit. You just can't use magic. Which, fair. That's the thing they were going after. And honestly, you should not have ever been able to do that. Because also, it worked as a better quicken spell. Like, seriously. So, yeah, that's a fair change. Tactical Mind is a new second level feature, which adds some more out-of-combat utility. Fighter subclasses back to the 2014 progression, which, it's fine. Like, the only classes that really suffered from that are Bard and Rogue, for various reasons, but Bard, they actually lose a level of features, which sucks. And Rogue, well, yeah. I don't know why they made them have their first feature at 9th level, but oh well. Here, though, it's fine, except for the ability score improvements. I hate them. I hate the extra ones. It's just, I don't like this at all. It's like, at 6 and 14, you get an extra one. It's like, I don't like it. I feel like they can do something actually interesting at those levels. Please replace this with something cooler. maybe an extra action surge use at probably 6th, I'd say would be good. It might be a bit too good, but who cares? It's a bonus that's nice. Tactical Shift is a new level 5 feature. It allows you to move without provoking opportunity attacks when you use Second Wind. So that is an interesting one. Though I will mention something in a moment. Master of Armaments replaces Weapon Expert and Weapon Adept at level 9. It just lets you change the mastery properties of all your mastery weapons. So basically they just kind of consolidated it, where it was like Weapon Expert was you can replace your mastery property, and then Adept was you can use either property. Like you choose 2 properties and you use either one. Where it's like at 13th level, masteries are finally not kind of boring. But here, they've updated it, or I think it was... Yeah, you can just replace it with any of your weapons, rather than just one. So, it would be nice if they also kept... Honestly, I think it'd be nice, like, thinking about it, I wish they just kind of had Weapon Adept as the baseline, where... like, maybe each weapon had 2 properties instead of 1. But we'll talk about it more later. But this, it's good. Being able to customize your masteries, it's nice. So it doesn't mean you have 6 weapons and you can get up to 6 different ones. But it's just finicky. 2 extra attacks is still here. I hate it. Same 3 extra attacks. Indomitable gets more uses of its own at higher levels rather than poaching Second Wind. Thank you. That was awful. Studied attacks at level 13 is a interesting feature. Unconquerable has been cut in favor of Indomitable, improving at higher levels. 3 extra attacks is back at level 20. Worst capstone in the game. I hate it. I hate the 3 extra attacks on Fighter. It's the extra attacks on extra attacks on Fighter I've always hated. I've always hated the extra ability score increases. I just don't like them at all. They're just 2 things I've never liked. Because I feel like they can do something actually good or interesting. But, oh well, it's... It's fine, but oh well. Studied attacks. So, this one, I will say, in a vacuum, I actually like the idea. The problem is, something else exists that kind of ruins it. But basically, whenever you make an attack roll against a creature and miss, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. Did they forget Vex still exists? Like, seriously. This is the 3rd one where, spoiler alert, Vex is somehow unchanged. How the hell did they overlook what this in Vex does? It is disgusting what you can do with this. Because the problem is, like, the one thing that would hold Vex back is that if you missed, you lost advantage. This makes that not happen anymore. I get casters are more powerful and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that's balanced with casters. This should not be happening, though. Not this way. There's other ways to do it. It should not be, oh yeah, fighters can actually get advantage with every attack beyond the first now. It doesn't matter if you hit or miss. You still get advantage on your next attack. And heaven forbid that you're playing a samurai with rapid strike. Because that gets even more disgusting. Like, seriously, it's just bonkers what you can do with this now. It's just... Why, Wizards? Why? This is even worse. Like, it's not even studied attacks itself. It is Vex that is doing this. And honestly, I have to say, Vex needs to go. Or at least be nerfed into just a flat bonus on hit. So it's like, hey, you hit? Okay, you're going to get a +2 bonus to your next attack roll. So much more fair than what this makes now, where it's like, advantage on every attack. Whoop-de-doo. And heaven forbid you multi-class Rogue, because that gets even more disgusting, where it's like, oh yeah, you have 3 extra attacks. You have 3 attacks. Each beyond the first has advantage, so you don't have to ever use your bonus action. And you can sneak attack. Yeah. That's great. That's wonderful. Otherwise, though, I think base fighter is actually good overall. The only problems I have are the problems I've always had. So, yeah. Subclasses. First, we're going to do champion, actually. Which is actually the third one. Improved critical is still here. I still don't like this. But, remarkable athlete. It's replacing adaptable vigor and is now at level 3. Grants advantage on initiative rolls and athletics checks. And increases jump distance. So... you just get better jump, better athletics, better initiative. It's good. 7th level additional fighting style still here. I wish it wasn't. Give this to all fighters, please. That would be awesome. I've thought this since the beginning. Heroic Warrior. At the start of each of your turns, you give yourself heroic advantage. So yeah, remember what I said about... except the first attack. Yeah, champions just ignore that. They straight up get advantage on every attack. And it doesn't even matter that you have heroic advantage beyond your first turn, really. I mean, unless you're getting saving throws, but yeah, that's ridiculous. Superior critical still around. I hate it. Survivor still around. It's actually good, but still... I still do not like improved critical and superior critical. Heroic Warrior is even more busted. I honestly wish this just went away. And additional fighting style. Give it to base fighter, please. That'd be so cool. So anyway, back up to the Battle Master. Student of War now gives a skill proficiency as well, so it's you get an artisan tool and a skill. So that's nice. Know your enemy has been changed, so it has been reworked entirely, which fair. So you have 1 use per long rest, but you get to know damage immunities, resistances, and vulnerabilities. Yeah. That's a useful one sometimes. Especially in more homebrew games, where it's like you can't metagame at all. But it's one of those things that's like, yeah, this is very useful. It's like, it's actually useful now. And you can reuse it with superiority dice, which, fine. Relentless. You now roll with a D8 rather than D6. So, yeah. I do wish, like, another nitpick here, but I do think that there should be another level 10 and 18 feature. Just to make it where you actually have, like, because it kind of lacks anything special. And I don't think the superiority dice becoming bigger is that special to warrant being an only feature. That said, the other features don't need to be anything special. I just think maybe there should be something else here where it's actually something good. Maybe even fold this into combat superiority where it's like, yeah, your dice increases in size at level 10 and 18, and you just have actual features at these levels. More of a nitpick than anything else, but oh well. The changes: ambush, bait and switch, commanding presence, and tactical assessment all return from college Tasha's, so they're back. Commander Strike no longer uses a bonus action. Thank you. And then Disarm Attack, Distracting Strike, Goading Attack, Maneuvering Attack, Menacing Attack, and Precision Throw now work with all types of attack rolls. So you just always use them. That said, I do think it's kind of weird that Goading Attack now lets you can goad with a ranged weapon, which doesn't feel right, but oh well. Evasive Footwork is now lasts until the end of your turn. Not when you stop moving. I don't think that really matters. Like, I feel like it's a very corner case that will ever happen, where you get attacked not by moving. But especially on Battlemaster, I don't think there's a lot of ways you can get hit with that, but Lunging Attack has been reworked entirely, I think. So basically, it's now a charge. So if you move at least 10 feet in straight line immediately before hitting with melee attack, part of the attack action, add superiority dice to the damage roll. So basically, it's a dash as a bonus action now, which is cool. Certainly a lot more useful. Parry, add strength or dex to the damage reduction. Thank you. I can now use that as anyone. Precision attack now triggers off missing an attack roll instead of before you know if attack hit or not. Thank you. There's a lot of corner cases where it's like, did I hit or not? And you add it and it's like, oh, you already hit. It's like, oh, crap. Rally can now use int or whiz instead of charisma. Not a bad bonus, actually. It allows you to do a lot more interesting builds with this. And the changes to rally and parry, I think, are both good changes that let a lot more diversity flow. Eldritch Knight. So there's 3 changes, which are all pretty darn good, in my opinion. Spellcasting no longer has School of Magic restrictions. After 3rd level, I wish it was just removed entirely. And you can change cantrip when gaining a level. And the fighter can use an arcane focus. I will have a nitpick and say that they should also make Warbond turn the weapon into an arcane focus that you can use to make the somatic component. So it's like, you literally use your sword to cast Burning Hands. And use that for the somatic component. I think that would be really cool. So it's cool that they added the arcane focus, just in case. But I do think it could be cooler. And that's my thing is, what we have is cool. I just think it could be a bit cooler. Because I think everyone would love if it was like, oh yeah, there's no school restrictions. Or they added necromancy. Because that's the one I think everyone wants, where it's like, you can straight up be a Death Knight now. And just use necrotic magic as an Eldritch Knight. I will also say, Wizards, please stop with calling spells known spells prepared. Thank you very much. So, yeah. But overall, like, the base stuff is fine, minus the wording change. Could use a bit more of a tweak. War Magic replaces an attack with a cantrip now. So, basically, instead of being you cast a spell then attack, you cast spells with your attack action. So, this does also mean you do actually get to do magic with Action Surge now, but it is exclusive to Eldritch Knight, which, perfect. They're the only ones who should have it. So basically, you replace one of these attacks with a cantrip, then Improved War Magic allows you to cast level 1 or 2 spells. Though actually, weirdly enough, it doesn't actually say that. Here, it doesn't have a level restriction. It's just there it says it. I think it's alluded to that it's supposed to, but honestly, I like this more. Like, maybe they have it where the number of attacks expended is the level of the spell, but I think this version's fine, actually. Like, what's here, where it's just whenever you take the attack action, you can place 2 attacks with a spell that casts as an action. It's fine. I actually like it. I think it's perfect like this, so no need to change that, actually. Typo or not, don't change it. It's better this way. Eldritch Strike, meanwhile, same as before. Arcane Charge, same as before. So both of those they're good. And I think Eldritch Knight overall, I think it's a bit cooler. We're getting into place. I just think no school restrictions or necromancy is an option to use spells chosen. Make my weapons an arcane focus through Warbond. We're perfect. Last but not least, we have a new subclass. So let me preface this with, we have now gotten to this is probably the most egregious new subclass addition so far. More as there's something else that needs an update desperately in Arcane Archer. That said, I can understand saving it for later when we do have Eldritch Knight as well here, so I can kind of see that. And I will actually say Brawler is a fun one. So basically you get so it says here that you get items that enhance unarmed strike and improvised weapons. Support the Monk, Brawler Fighter, and College Dance Bard. Might get delayed. I personally hope it's getting delayed to get Whispers updated. That's my personal preference. Level 3, Unarmed Expert. You can use D6 plus your Strength mod in the place of normal damage for your unarmed strike. If you aren't holding any weapons or a shield, it upgrades to a D8. So this is fun. I will point out, though, that you do start worse than a monk, and I think you actually even end worse than a monk. Oh. Well, yeah. But it is definitely a fun one. And then you've got Improvised Expert. Basically, whenever you use improvised weapons, you're proficient with them. And you can choose a weapon. You basically get 2 extra masteries just for your improvised weapons. So one-handed can get light or and you can also give them properties. So one-handed weapons can be given the light or thrown property. Two-handed can get the reach or thrown properties, though I would not suggest getting thrown on two-handed because that 10 to 30 range is kind of bad. Personally, I'd probably suggest one-handed take thrown, two-handed take reach. I think that's good. And you get the weapon mastery. And this is an even better version than even I suggested, actually. Where, yeah, whenever you attack, you can give it a mastery property for that attack. Depending on if it's one or two-handed. If it's one-handed, sap, slow, or vex. Two-handed, cleave, push, or topple. And it also, I think, ignores if you would normally be able to use that with it, because of how sap and vex work. But yeah, that is definitely very fun. And I will put it bluntly, this is just how they should work anyway. Like, this is how weapon mastery should work. This would make it so much better, where it's like you have multiple options to take from, and you choose different mastery abilities, and you can apply them to weapons. Some might still have prerequisites, like cleave is melee only, of course, but just have it where it's like you have different bonuses you get with each. Level 7, grappling expert. Make an unarmed strike as a bonus action. And when you use an unarmed strike this way, you must choose the grapple or shove option. And at the start of each of your turn, you can deal d6 bludgeoning damage to one creature grappled by you. So, yeah, that's actually a fun one. And I will say I do like how they're specifically avoiding Monk's niche, where it's like, yeah, you may not do damage directly with it, but you are good at grappling people, which is definitely a fun one. Dirty fighting. You have advantage on attack rolls made with improvised weapons and armed strikes against a creature grappled by you. So you grapple a creature and then wallop the heck out of them. So, yeah, that's definitely a fitting bonus. Improvised specialist. Whenever you hit with creature with an improvised weapon, add your proficiency bonus to damage roll, and damage die to two-handed improvised weapons becomes 1d12. And you can use 2 mastery properties from improvised expert instead of 1. So basically even more fun. This one, I think, it might be too fun. I feel like they may have given you a bit too much. Where it's like, yeah, no, this should just be how it works. Like, improvised expert is just how weapon mastery should work. For everyone, where you have a pool of mastery abilities. Fighter gets the most, of course. Which would also make you care about the 6th. One known. Also, their capstone at 18. Unarmed strikes improve to D8. Or D10 if you're wielding nothing. I do wish, however, they did specify that one-handed improvised weapons also increase in damage. To be... I'd probably say whatever your unarmed expert is, but oh well. It is what it is. But it's definitely a fun subclass where it's like, oh yeah, you use your fist in improvised weapons. It's definitely... It's 100% a fun class, and it's a funny subclass where it's like, yeah, this is cool. But I do think, like, honestly, I think my main critiques are that the progression might be a bit wonky, especially with how they end up being behind Monk. Though monks only get 2 attacks normally, so I think it's actually fine. But I do like this a lot. So, last but not least, we're going to skip over all the mages. That's for another day. Because I'm not recording these the same day again. Or night. I'm probably going to sleep, so my friend doesn't worry about me. Well, my friend Moon Echo. But anyway, weapons. So, heavy property has been redesigned. So, it's not size penalty. It's based on strength or dex, which does lead to some interesting stuff. And I can understand this, but it's fair. Push now works on any creature that's large or smaller. Requires you to push target straight away from yourself. So you can't... So it specifies it straight away. Flex is gone, and as a result, Sap has been modified, so it works with Versatile as well. Which is a godsend, because my lord was the old Sap just bad. This also means the weapons that had Flex before, which I think is literally all the ones they've changed. Because I think they only changed those. Yeah, the Quarterstaff had it. Spear had it. Longsword had it. Warpick and Warhammer had it. So, Quarterstaff now has Topple instead, which that's actually a very fitting one. I like that. Spear has Sap. So now both of your basic... I do think this kind of makes the mace pointless, minus the fact it's bludgeoning. So I think they could give the mace Versatile just to make up for... Or maybe give it Topple as well. Maybe give it Versatile D8. Kind of change it up so it's not directly competing with Spear. Because right now I think it's just a worse Spear, minus bludgeoning. And then Longsword has Sap. Warhammer has Push. Warpick has Sap. So, yeah, those changes are all nice. So, I will say, though, Wizards, please nerf this. I don't want my fighter ruined by not using Vex weapons. Please. Just, please. And also, let my rogue be free of it. Just, that part, that advantage part, so busted. Sap, meanwhile, I think could also be changed from disadvantage to a flat penalty, mostly to keep it in line with Vex. Also, as I said before, I wish this was just at-will powers. Especially because they made Brawler basically do that, where it's like, yeah, Brawler puts everyone else to shame with improvised weapons and stuff. It's like, and it will actually say they do also have the Monk problem, where your unarmed attacks don't get a property. So I think another critique is that they should have the one-handed masteries with their unarmed attacks. But overall, I think, at least for the Warriors, they've actually done really well. So, this overall, I think, they've definitely improved from Playtest 5, and are definitely refining stuff further and further. Most of the big changes are honestly problems I've either had for the entire time, or it's something that it could be better. Like, but overall, I think, yeah, this is great. So tune in next time for when we talk about the mages, which is going to be a very different one. I might even have to split Warlock into its own video. I'm not sure yet. I will consider it, but we'll see. But without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this video. And as I said, stay tuned by liking and subscribing so you can keep up to date when the next part comes. Probably later the same day this is releasing, though I'll be recording it another day. But that's the joys of YouTubers. But anyway, without further ado, I'll see y'all next time! Halo Zoo out!